thank you, Grace of Heaven, transmitters, saints, Buddhas, and all of you for this opportunity to learn to speak on this topic. I will have some difficulties with the pinging and some of the things, so if I make any of pronunciation of the pinging, those of you who can speak or understand the pinging, you can feel free to correct me with my pronunciation. Right, so as lecturer Tai just explained a lot of things about this Patriot, but so Patriot Lu first name is Chang Ai, right, or alias Tang Li Si. Okay. And he was born on April 24th in 1849, right, in Jin-Gong, Shandong province in China.
Is that lunar date?
Huh?
April 24th?
April 24th.
Is that the lunar day? I don't know.
Should be lunar,
this is
right?
lunar.
That's the lunar
Yeah.
day?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's the incarnation of Mila Maitreya Buddha and was bestowed the title of Jin-Gong Jin-Gong Zu Shi.
Zeus. Oh, Zeus is like,
Patriarch.
yeah, I guess the translation of
Yeah.
patriarch.
Or Patriot of the Golden Justice. Right. So after he received heaven, he returned to heaven. He was said to be, well, first he was an illiterate person, so he did not get a lot of respect from a lot of people, and then he did not have a great appearance. So, and his father died when he was young and left he and his mother and his sister to actually fend for themselves. And in that time of life, it was sort of difficult for him and his family to actually make ends meet, as it would say. So after the year when he was 22, the government was searching for lots of soldiers because it was wartime, so he joined the army. And joining the army, he had lots of financial difficulties, so the army was an easy choice for him to do. So and in the army, he was such a diligent worker, so he got promoted quite a few times during his time in the army. And so Patriot Lu was known by many as Lu Zhongyi, or of Yang Dao or Icon Dao. His religious title was Tang Li. Lu Zhong Li. Okay. Lu Tong Li Zhu and Jin-Gong Zhu Shi, or Golden Elder, just to name a few. Because he was, even though he was an illiterate person, but his demeanor was such that he still generated lots of respect from those who knew him. And
he was not a soldier with a gun. I mean, he was cook
cook
in the
yeah.
army, so he was not shooting people.
Yeah. All right, just there. That's a good explanation, because if we are actually speaking about not killing, and you're thinking, well, how come this person is such a high status and he's in the army killing people? But he was the cook, so he was not killing anybody. He did not even use a gun. All right. Okay. When 16 Patriot Liu, that is Liu, right, was age 50, he requested for instruction from God, asking who could continue the lineage of Dao. He set up an altar and performed the ritual and communicated with God about who the successor would be. He got a reply. The reply was, "The saint is in front of your eyes." He was puzzled. Who is he? A riddle was then continued. If you want to find Maitreya, you need to search carefully. The one who always tell the truth and spread the kindness and compassion when the sun and the moon is combined. The secret is hidden in the palm, whose hands have the word of symbolic seal. In the palm is the 17th patriarch. Now, this puzzle was given to the 16th patriarch by God after he was requesting a replacement because he thought he was getting old and wanted someone else to continue his job. But he was so puzzled because he thought he knew all of his disciples at the time, and then his message was this symbolic seal in the palm of the hand. So he was really puzzled. So Patriarch Luke was so confused with the riddle, he got an idea. And he called all his disciples, asked them to wash their hands, and come to this special ceremony. So while the ceremony or prayer was going on, he asked each person to come and keep their palms up. So as he was searching every palm, and he did not find that symbolic seal. So that made him even more confused, because he needed a replacement, and the instruction came from God, and he had to follow God's instruction. So that made him very confused. So
Well, at that time, see what we call him the 17th patriarch. He was already joined
he was in the temple,
yeah. And he's actually cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah.
He also came out actually.
But let's say that a little later. Right. Yeah. Right. Next slide. Yeah. So in 1895, at the age of 46, Chang Ai was said to, this is the 17th patriarch using the name Chang Ai, Chang Yi, right? Chang Yi, okay, was said to have a dream from God instructing him heading to the city of Guangzhou, Guangzhou, in in Shandong province, right, to find the Tao and to become the disciple of the 16th patriarch, Liu. Next day, upon awaking up from his dream, Chang Yi resigned his army duty. So remember earlier when I said that the patriarch Liu received this parable from heaven, and God was telling him that he should look for this person who always speak the truth. So now when Patriarch Liu received this message to go to seek the Tao, right away he's such a devotee that he resigned his post in the army and head out to find 16 patriarch. So he gathered up all his things, and he had $100 in silver. That is, at the time, that was the type of money that was used. So, and he donated that $100 and in silver and headed out in search of the 16 patriarch. He had $100 when he left, right? Okay. So every night as he traveled and he stayed in the local motels, and at nightfall, each night he received an instruction to say which direction to go. See, that was necessary because remember, in that time, it's not like present day where we have highways and roads and so forth. So it's a lot of difficulties. The country was not fully developed yet, so there was not much road. So he got his instruction as to what route to take. so that he could be in the right direction for his journeys. So, as Changi received a special divine message one night and says, tomorrow you're heading to the nearby mountain to receive Tao from a master. Coincidentally, on the same night, Master Liu, in the 16th Patriarch, also received a divine message in his dream. Tomorrow morning, one saint will come to visit you. You will need to go to greet him by the front door. So both of them having a dream the same time. One is saying, so you go to find this person, and this other person is getting the same dream to say you have to meet this person. So what I really like about this is that if because we have so many people who don't really believe thoroughly in the Tao, to see how these sort of things, occurrences can happen. So, and I guess most of you believe in dreams or don't believe in dreams, but these dreams really work because they came directly from God. So, as upon waking up from his dream, he got ready quickly. This is 16 Patriarch, and headed to the front door. While he was looking around to find the saint, he saw an ordinary short and heavy-set man who wore shabby clothing with a big rounded tribly hat. What is that? A tribly hat. T-R-I-L-B-Y. Tribly hat.
Maybe one of those straw hats.
They have those big wide rim straw hat. I think.
Yeah, in China, that's what they wear.
Yeah, like the farmers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Patriarch Lu did not see anything special about this heavy-set man. Is he the saint? Patriarch Lu asked himself with puzzlement. While he was still figuring out the answer of this heavy-set man carrying his luggage, already walked right in front of of Patriarch Lu. Then he says, "Can I find Tao here?" asked the heavy-set man. Patriarch Lu said, You want to receive Tao?" The heavy-set man replied, "Yes, I want to receive Tao." So the dream was coming together. Only thing that Patriarch Lu, or the 16th Patriarch, was confused and saying, well, he was looking for a saint, and this person that came up to him did not look anything like a saint. That if you can see what he thought was a saint looked like. All right. So next slide. Yeah. So Patriarch Lu continued, "Come with me, I can transmit Tao to you." He then led the heavy-set man to the temple situated in the hill. Upon arriving to the temple, Patriarch Lu prepared the ceremony. He transmitted the Tao to the heavy-set man. Afterwards, Master Liu did not see anything special about this man. Thus, he told the heavy-set man that you now have received the Tao and you can leave.
Okay, so obviously when you receive the Tao, you have to have merit fee, right?
Yeah.
So the savings that he got, the 100 ounces of silver or whatever from the army, and he happened to have that much. And actually,
That's
the Patriarch Liu, the 16th Patriarch, said, well, because he didn't think this was the person.
Yeah.
So he said, "Oh, it's going to cost, it's going to cost you 100 ounces of silver to receive the Tao," and he thought he wouldn't have that, right? Because he looked like a peasant farmer, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I just happen to have, that was his savings." And he says, "So here, I give it all to you." So yeah, so then the Patriarch was, obviously very surprised that he would have that exact amount. And so he did, transmit the Tao to him.
The Patriarch, right. So However, the heavyset man explained that he wanted to stay in the temple to learn about the Tao. Unfortunately, there was not much things he could do as he was illiterate. Thus, Patriarch Liu assigned to the heavyset man many laborious duty, intensive work such as chopping wood, carrying water, cooking, and gardening. Right? The heavyset man followed all the instruction leads by Patriarch Liu. The heavyset man spent in the temple for 3 years for intensive labor chores. He accepted all the responsibilities. He experienced hardship and toil with his sincerity. He never complained. He never did everything that Patriarch Luke with the 16 Patriarch gave him to do. He just did it because he was such a good cultivator that he did not make any fuss. And I think some of the other disciples sort of looked down on him in a little way without saying anything, but just the way that they approached him, and so they didn't really give him much respect, but he just kept on doing what he had to do because he knew his duty and the purpose he was there for. So in this way he accumulated, because of all of those things, he accumulated infinite merit. So accumulating infinite merit mean that he was so good that his merit grew so vast that he started changing in a way without changing, even though there was not much for him to change internally. So several years later, Lu Zhu was commanded by Lamu to be in charge of the Dao lineage in the White Era. He became the 17th Patriarch. So it paid off. All his hard labor and so forth, he was able to receive that mandate as the 17th Patriarch.
Well, that was his destiny.
Yeah.
He was meant to be the 17th Patriarch. I mean, so it's not like he wanted to.
Yeah.
It's not like something that he was pursuing. But yeah, that goes back to the beginning where he's talking about getting the 16th Patriarch. So even though he was a Patriarch, he didn't really. I mean, not so not all patriarchs are, like so enlightened that they know who to pass it on to, I guess. So he wasn't, the 16th patriarch wasn't sure who to pass it on to. But yeah, so seeing this, so like we have these lines on our palms, right? So yeah, so that scripture from God saying that you see a certain pattern here, that's the person, that's the one you have to transmit it to. But he still didn't quite, he did see it, but he didn't quite believe it. I mean, he just still couldn't, in his mind, he has this obstacle. He just couldn't believe it would be him, right? Because he's illiterate and all that. Yeah. So he actually did not pass it on, pass down that mandate. So the 16th Patriarch, he passed away, and it was only, it was a few years, or the next year or something, it was after he passed away that then finally God, Lamu, through a handwriting, then said, oh, okay, so this person is actually become the 17th Patriarch. So, yeah.
Okay, next slide. So, 17th Patriarch Lu now, he did his daily chores, enduring hardship, and studied conscientiously to achieve holiness. When Lu Zhu became old and senile, he sought heavenly advice and passed on the leadership to Jin-Gong Zhu Shi. On March 15th, in the 31st year of the rule of Chang Emperor, Qing Emperor Guangxu. Next. Yeah.
When is that?
Oh, this would be
1800s.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but when he received the mandate, it was 1905.
Really?
Yeah, 1905. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as 16 Patriot Lu was getting old, and he told all his disciples to leave the temple. Some disciples decided to go back to their hometowns, and some disciples started to propagate the Tao. Patriot Lu, 17 Patriot Lu Zhang Yi, did not know where to go. The 16 Patriot Lu told him he should go back to his hometown to stay at the Guanyin Temple in Jenin, Shandong province. However, he was hesitant to go because Guanyin Temple is only for female nuns. So, however, Lamu mercifully instructed in a holy revelation to the 17 Patriot, go to Guanyin nunnery and settle down. Later, he did find his long-lost sister in the Guanyin nunnery back in his hometown. Okay. Next slide. Number 8. Right. Okay. After many consideration, he reluctantly chose to go to his hometown, as he had nowhere to go, but he did not want to reside in the Guanyin temple. Later he found out his sister Lu Zhang Jie stayed in Guanyin temple. He was excited, and he immediately made a surprise visit to meet her in the temple. However, the sister did not want to acknowledge the brother, as she had not seen him for more than 20 years. The sister lost many years of contact with her brother since he was in the army. She was quite shocked and in disbelief when Lu claimed to be her brother. To convince her, Lu shared his childhood memories with her. He stated their parent passed away as he was a young boy. He and his sister lived in poverty in the shabby cottage, and they often pick up leftover vegetables from the neighborhood. As he went on his childhood story, the sister cried and finally was convinced. After they joyfully started to discuss about the meaning of life and sharing their own experiences. Patriot Lu transmitted the Tao to his sister and her family. The whole family started cultivating and propagating Tao, and Tao started there, and now then. So skip to 10, number 10. Skip one and go to the next one. Right. So heavenly degree. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll go back to it afterwards. Heavenly decree. Yeah. So that picture is the Patriot, or 17 Patriarch. He's the
This is the 18.
Yeah. Okay.
Before picture.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
other
The
picture.
first picture. Okay. So in 1905, Jin-Gong Joshu, God ordained Patriot Lu Zhang Yi as the 17th Patriarch to continue the lineage of Tao. This mandate signifies the transmission from the red era to the white era. With the heavenly decree from God, the 17th Patriarch Lu propagated Tao with assistance of his sister in Jenin, Shandong province of China. This started the last salvation mission. With a few years, Patriot Lu managed to attract some 25 disciples. Among them were Mr. Zhang Tianren, Zhang Tianren, who is the 18th patriarch, and Miss Sun Hu Ming, who is the 18th matriarch. Okay. Sun Hui Ming. Okay. Could you go back now to the 9? Skip back up.
Previous one.
Previous. Okay. Patriarch. Right. Okay. On March 3rd of the following of that year, Jin-Gong Zhu Shu returned with his youthful look. This is after he passed away. See, he came back, right, and borrowed the soul of Yang Qing Li in Shaanxi, Shaanxi, to exhibit his divine power for 100 days. He was able to cite classics and Mila sutras for posterity. This miracle marked the beginning of the usage of medium to propagate Tao. So those of you who have been to the temple for Dharma classes and see we have the ladies who come in from Taiwan, we call medium, and you see that the Buddha's visit and takes over their body. This is what is explained here. So when this happens, that person is not aware of who is in charge of their body at the time and what is being done or said. So this is what is called using the body of a medium to transmit messages to us here at the temple. Now we will go to our conclusion. So in conclusion, after Patriarch Lu died at age 73 on the second day of the second lunar month in 1925, right, God bestowed upon Patriarch Lu the heavenly title Jin-Gong Patriarch. Patriarch Lu, younger sister Lu, Shang-Ji, J-I-E, Zhong-Jie, also known as Lo Gu Nai, N-A-I,
Lu Gu Nai,
who was believed to be the incarnation of Bodhisattva Guanyin, temporarily took over the leadership for 6 years. So his sister that was in the nunnery for all that time, she became such a good devotee at the time, so she was able to continue his work until for that 6-year period, until a new patriarch came about. So are there any questions or any comments?
So again, with the 17th patriarch, he did not pass on the mandate to the 18th. Right, so he passed away in 1925. But the 18th patriarch, they got in 1930. So there was a 5-year, 5+ year time when there was no official patriarch. So his sister kind of had that role, and that was again a message from God saying that he would have that. So, but yeah, right, and then, but yeah, and she is actually the incarnation of Guanyin Bodhisattva. And then so after that, then she had a new title as well that God presented to Nanhai Gupo. I don't know, ancient Buddha of Nanhai. I don't know. That's direct translation.
Southern Sea, ancient Buddha of the South Sea.
But yeah, so so this transmission of this Tao. So even the patriarchs may not necessarily know who the next person is, and then heaven. This is heaven's mandate. So heaven's mandate, God and heaven, obviously, they're no matter what, it's going to happen, right? I mean, it's God's will. So that it'll get passed on, and so there might be seemingly there might be some breaks, a few years, whatever breaks between the patriarchs, but it still continues. But yeah,
so, and I'd also like to say that if any of you were members of like religion in churches, to compare, to say, in the Tao, a person don't just get up and say, oh, I'm the leader. The patriarch, they are all chosen by God in heaven. So that's what make the Tao true and real, because when we speak about our patriarch, these are the people who chosen by God to actually transmit this Tao to others. So if you had doubts, that's a good indication to say, well, this is real.
yeah, I mean, because of the 18th patriarch, which is actually the 64th. Okay, so all from the very beginning to the 18th. Well, it's, the reason why it's 18. There's the first 18, then there's 28, and then 18. So you add that up, 64. But yeah, because of the hexagrams, the I Ching, right? There's only 64 different symbols, if you will, of the I Ching, the hexagrams, and so that makes that's a complete set, right? So it won't. So then we know that there are no more patriarchs, and and the Buddhists, they all say that. Okay, so this 18th is the last one. Okay, so now in a religion, if it keeps continuing on, they'll still have, they vote for the next pope or whoever, right? But those are, human. I mean, people are voting for, electing someone, right? So in the passing the mandate of the Tao or heaven's mandate, it's not the human choice. It's not determined by people. Okay, so even though sometimes the patriarch can pass it on to someone, but patriarch has that mandate, so he can do that, right? But like in religions, then it's almost, I mean, it's just the voting of the bishops or whoever, cardinals, that elects the next person. And so in that sense, there's no longer that kind of heaven's mandate as well. Okay, so it's a little bit different. So religion, you can just keep doing that, right, forever. Whereas in the Tao, there is a specific time period when it's available. Now we are kind of on. Now there are, if you go, there are people who claim, or different sects, if you will, maybe they branched off from the Tao, that they say, oh, we have a 19th patriarch, or even I heard there's a 20th patriarch. I don't know, but then since we know that there aren't any more, then that's kind of, they're deviated from the true path already. Okay, so that's so we have to be careful. We say, oh yeah, there's 19 patriarch, let's go over there. No, so we have to, be careful. I mean, we have to use our wisdom. See, during this time, we really do need to use our wisdom because there will be all sorts of, even all the scriptures, they say there'll be false prophets, right? All these things. And so we also hear from the Buddhists, there'll be false holy teachers, false Jin-Gongs, false Maitreya's. They claim that's who they are, right? The incarnations. There are people who claim to be the incarnation of Guanyin Bodhisattva, right? Anyone who makes these claims, because a Buddha would not make these claims, right? The Buddhas never say that, oh, I am the Buddha, whatever. They don't say that. So even though they, like the 17th patriarch, 18th patriarch, they're all incarnations of Buddhas. They don't claim that's what they are. Okay, so we know that then, those are false. So we have to be careful not to seek those, because then once you seek those, then you're down the wrong path, and you can't, you won't be able to transcend. I mean, that's So we have to be careful. Don't be too curious following these. Yeah. Today there are also lots of masters who they have special powers, abilities. Right? People seek those. Oh yeah, wow, I can get these powers. So those are also not the path to become a saint or Buddha. So So again, we should look for the truth, right? Seek the truth. The truth, it doesn't sound very as maybe it's attractive as getting certain powers, but But the truth means if we follow the truth, then we'll actually transcend, and we actually have a chance to become Buddhas and saints. And once you do that, actually Buddhas, they have all these powers anyway. It comes naturally, so we don't have to seek it. So it comes naturally from our cultivation. So we should, we should definitely not be too curious in seeking these other things. I mean, these other teachings. Right? So once we have, it's like we already know the truth. I mean, this is the Tao, this is the right way, so we should just follow it.
So I guess everyone understand what Lecturer Tai said about the I Ching, right? So if it was made so many years already by heaven, how could we break that, even the outer circle, to put more strokes inside? It's made already, so humans cannot break it. We should show a picture. I Ching.
Well, you've all seen, right, the I Ching, the hexagrams. It's just basically 6 lines, either solid line or a broken line, right? So the combination, it's 2 to the 6, it's basically 2 to the 6, which is 64. Okay, so that's how I get it. And those, this was, you can say, it was created by the first patriarch, of Tao, right?
Fushi.
Right, Fushi. Okay, so when he started, it was only the trigram, so it was only 3 lines. Okay, so there's 8 possibilities. But then is it Wu Wang? Is it Wen Wang? Okay, the Duke Wen in the Zhou dynasty, he then expanded that to the 64, the modern day, the 64 hexagram from the 8. See, the 8 was the Shentian, which is like the prior.
Pre-heaven,
whatever, pre-world trigrams that represent the how things, you can say, are or were before the world was created. But then, so the Wen Wang, then what he transformed that into the 64 hexagrams, and that describes how the world is as we see it today, as we know it today. Okay, so, but actually the Tao means we all came from that pre-heaven, or the pre-world heaven. And so but in this world, so things got kind of reversed or upside down or whatever you want to call it, and so inverted. And so for us to go back, we have to kind of invert back to that original state, if you will, the original, right? So a lot of things we think, it's very natural, our human nature, right? We follow our human nature. We think, these things are very natural, but we have to kind of go back to our true nature, which is the pre-heaven one. And so when we follow our true nature or Buddha nature, then that's the way to go back to heaven, right? So if we just follow the human nature way, then we're just going to be staying here and just keep recycling, reincarnating. So we have to go the way of the heaven, pre-heaven, then that's the way to go back. Yeah. So that's what this Tao is about, is to kind of guide us, to that direction.
Any more questions? Laura? Okay. Jean? Carrie? Guy, I see you have a question.
That means you look confused.
No, everything was quite clear. It's quite understandable.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Maitreya, so the 17th patriarch, being the incarnation of Maitreya Buddha, Happy Buddha, Laughing Buddha, right? He had many incarnations before that, but he's, you can say, the embodiment of tolerance, magnanimity, right? And so you can see that, from the 17th patriarch, or how he becomes 17th patriarch. That's how he was. So that's really, we need to learn from him to be that way. I mean, we tend to discriminate. We tend to, differentiate, and so he doesn't really do that. And so we need to be able to accept everyone, accept them and be able to tolerate anything. So one of the saying for us is that to how do you say
take advantage.
Yeah, if we've been taken advantage of, or kind of we think we're losing something, right? We're not gaining, we're losing something. That's actually the way to cultivate, virtues. I mean, we think, I don't want to be on the losing end of anything, right? Or whether it's an argument or any kind of transaction, right? But yet, that is the way to actually. That's the better person, right? The more noble person is willing to accept that, whatever we think of it as a loss, but it's actually a gain in terms of virtue. Right? Virtue is worth more than any material gain you can get from that. And so that is the way. That's how heaven looks at things. So that's why that's like one of the things that we think it's kind of opposite of the human way. We think, oh yeah, I mean I can't, I have to be. I'm the one who should take advantage. I should get something, gain something. But heaven's way, see, remember, it's kind of the opposite, and so we shouldn't be like that. So that's why we have to kind of relearn or rethink how we do things, or how we deal with people and things. And so that's how. So it's kind of almost counterintuitive, but if you think about all the saints, Buddhas, prophets, they all teach that, right? I mean, Jesus, same thing, right? Turn the other cheek, or give, someone steals something, give the shirt off your back to, so it's the same idea, okay? Of course, there's also the karma aspect to that, which is if we start fighting over something, then we create this kind of bad karma. If we can say let go, say, oh, okay, that's all right, I'll just give it to you, then we've resolved any kind of karma that arose. Okay, so that's kind of resolving our karma is an important thing to kind of allow us to transcend this reincarnation. Right? If we still keep creating all sorts of that kind of karma, we have to come back, reincarnate, and then we have to pay back whatever karmic debts we accumulate. So it's very, very important to understand that.
Okay, so if I have said anything, all the incorrect pronunciations and everything, or if I hope I have not offended anyone with anything, or the Buddhas or the saints, but just in case if I did, I ask for heaven's forgiveness and all of you. Thank you.